In 2021, I visited New Orleans after wanting to visit for several years. I was there for a wedding, but aside from that, my main mission was to try as much of their food as possible. My first act of business when I arrived in town was to stop by my hotel, drop my bags off, and immediately headed for the French Quarter. I'd made arrangements for a bus tour and they were going to pick us up in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. First place that I stopped was Killer Po' Boys, which I'd heard about, I guess, from some like food magazine or website or something like that. Stopped by, picked up the grilled shrimp po' boy as well as pork belly. I thought the grilled shrimp was actually really good. Had great flavor. The bread was nice and fluffy, a little bit crusty on the outside, bits of like little pickled vegetables. The pork belly wasn't my favorite. I'm not really a big fan of pork belly. It was just kind of fatty and it had a lot of sauce on it that just made the bread really soggy. So after placing the order at Killer Po' Boys, I left my mom there to wait for the order to be prepared and headed over to Cafe Beignet because this was my other big thing to get. Had to wait a little bit because they were making them fresh, but I got excited standing there. You could smell the sweetness. You saw them walking by with other people's orders. Lots of merch and whatnot. There's a courtyard outside. You could take time to sit down and just kick it, but again, we were in a rush. So I placed my order, waited maybe 10-15 minutes or so, and got a nice, fresh, hot order of beignets. Sweet, pillowy, soft goodness in dough form. Ate it while we were walking, powdered dust everywhere, looked like I was swimming in flour. Absolutely enjoyed it. First of many. Later on during the bus tour, we made a pit stop so people could use the restroom, grab a snack, and it so happened to be in a park with a Café du Monde. Of course, I went ahead and got another order of beignets. Again, pillowy, soft, doughy, sweet, absolutely amazing. And from there, I pretty much got beignets every day, generally from Café du Monde. I didn't really notice much of a difference between the two. It was just that Café du Monde, the locations were generally more convenient or right nearby, but liked them both. We visited during the weekend of the Saints-Falcons game, so there were a lot of people in town. Heading to the French Quarter that evening, it was super busy, and a lot of the restaurants were quite busy. We walked around for a little while looking for some place to go to, and came across Felix Restaurant and Oyster Bar. There was a line outside, which was a little bit discouraging, but it actually moved quite quickly. So should you see that, don't be discouraged. We got in no time. I ordered the classic New Orleans sampler of jambalaya with turtle soup, red beans and rice, and some gumbo. Everything was absolutely incredible. It was very filling, very satisfying, incredibly flavorful. It lived up to the expectations that I had, where for years I'd wanted to try these various dishes, and here it was that I was able to try everything in one sitting. I will say that of all of the different things that I tried, the New Orleans dishes, I was surprised that red beans and rice ended up being my absolute favorite. I later had a chance to try like etouffee and a few other things, but hands down, I had red beans and rice at every opportunity and it did not disappoint. After eating dinner, I wanted something a little bit sweet to finish off the night, and so we looked for an ice cream shop. I'd been to Amarino Gelato in New York, and I saw that there was one nearby, so I went ahead, headed in, and I tried to stay away from dairy, so I got some sorbet. Really great flavors. I think it's really cute that they formed the cone into a flower instead of just your regular scoop. It was a great way to end the night. Over the next few days, I visited Ruby Slipper Cafe as well as Fritai, both of which I've done full-length videos on. The links will be in the episode description. I also visited another restaurant which was through one of the side streets in the French Quarter. They were doing quite brisk business, looked like a cool place. The food was good. I got to try crawfish etouffee from there, but I didn't get a chance to record video because I really just grabbed the food quickly so I could have something to eat before heading out to the wedding, and I still managed to be late. I was in town for a 3-day weekend, so arrived the Saturday, wedding was the Sunday, had Monday and half of Tuesday to explore. And so that Monday, I went on a walking tour, and then afterwards, I wanted to try pralines as I'd heard about them. I headed to this like candy kitchen place and got these praline candies. Tried it, and it was not for me. My mom and I split half of it. We took the other half home, left it on the counter for about a year. It was just, not that there was anything wrong with it, it was just way too sweet for me. A coworker of mine visits New Orleans quite frequently, and so she recommended some of the restaurants and also suggested that I try char-grilled oysters. I'm not the biggest fan of oysters, but I figured, why not? We headed to Oceana Grill, and I ordered the char-grilled oysters, which was pretty cool because where I was sitting, I could see into the kitchen where they were making them. In addition to that, I also got some gator bites, really just out of curiosity. Neither one of them knocked my socks off, but not because they weren't bad or anything like that. I guess I'm just not a fan of oysters. And the gator bites, they weren't bad either. It's just, I think they tasted like fish. I don't know what I was expecting, but it just tasted like fish. Nothing bad, but, not amazing either. On my last day in town, I had an afternoon flight. Grabbed some breakfast that morning, walk around the French Quarter a bit, exploring, and then grabbed lunch. I went to Jimmy's Cafe where I wanted to grab a Muffaletta sandwich just to give it a try, see what it was like. The vibe was quite cool, pretty laid back, sort of like a bayou type feel, but the Muffaletta sandwich, yeah, it lived up to the hype. It is a huge sandwich and very satisfying. The one Muffaletta sandwich was sufficient to feed my mom and I. We split it in half and we were quite satisfied with it. You had nice pillowy bread, soft on the inside, slightly crusty on the outside, with some fatty mortadella, a nice savory olive salad, a bit of cheese. Really nice combination of flavors, great textures, great sandwich. I go back? Definitely. The only thing is, I felt the day after the game, a lot of the people that had been in town left, and with that, a lot of the energy, like the vibe just really changed. Surprisingly, the French Quarter is quite small, and I felt it lost a lot of its energy when the out-of-town crowd left. So if I was going to go back, it would be for some kind of an event. So if I was attending the game, or Essence Fest or Jazz Fest or something like that. For a regular weekend, I don't really think so. But all in all, I had a great time. The food was incredible and certainly lived up to my expectations. Definitely 10 out of 10 for the food. Deserves its place as one of America's premier. Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click that thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.